Welcome back to the deep dive. Now, if you're usually here for, say, global finance or maybe ancient history, well, today we're tackling something arguably even more dramatic and definitely more volatile.
Oh, for sure.
We are diving deep into the next 2 weeks of Port Charles, specifically General Hospital, covering October 27th right through November 7th.
Yep.
Just as everything is set to basically explode for November sweeps.
That's absolutely the mission today.
Yeah.
We've got, well, quite a stack of source material detailing all the shifting alliances, the legal time bombs ticking away, and some really character-defining choices coming up in this critical fortnight.
Yeah.
And it's not just about plot points moving forward. We're talking seismic shifts, foundational changes in Port Charles.
Absolutely. This 2-week window, it really feels like the bedrock for all the high-stakes drama that's going to define the rest of the year, doesn't it?
It really does.
When you look at the sources, everything happening right now, the property battles, the relationship meltdowns, those criminal investigations, it's all just accelerating, like hitting hyperspeed.
Precisely. And we're seeing, I think, 3 core conflicts really hitting critical mass all at once.
Okay.
First, you've got that escalating battle for the Quartermain legacy. It's centered on the mansion, obviously, but also the serious legal jeopardy facing people like Tracy and, well, Drew.
Right.
Second, there's the ticking clock on Willow Tate's freedom. And Alexis Davis is pulling out all the stops with this ruthless, high-risk legal strategy. It's pretty intense.
Wow. Okay. High risk indeed.
And then maybe the most emotionally charged one.
Yeah.
The fallout from the Curtis and Portia split, which is like rapidly snowballing into this incredibly complex and frankly unavoidable paternity showdown.
Paternity, yeah. Always a classic. So, okay, we'll start by unpacking that first week, October 27th to the 31st. That seems to be about setting the stage, right? Laying down the threats, the shocking announcements.
Exactly. Setting the board.
And then we pivot hard into week 2, November 3rd to the 7th. That's when sweeps really kicks in and all those early moves start triggering, major irreversible consequences.
That's the plan.
Okay, let's dive in, and where else to start but smack dab in the middle of the wealthiest and probably most chaotic family in all of New York.
The Quartermains, of course. Their orbit is just, well, it's ground zero right now for both corporate and family warfare, and it's all revolving around Drew Kane's increasingly aggressive push to get that family mansion. This whole saga really kicks off, according to the sources, on Monday, October 27th. And it starts with Laura Spencer, the mayor, who's described as being absolutely furious.
And you can totally see why, especially if you care about the history of these families. I mean, the sources say Drew threatened to have Rocco Falceroni and Danny Morgan arrested.
These
are teenagers we're talking about.
Yeah.
And he's apparently leveraging that restraining order he has against them just so they can't see Scout, his own daughter.
It's incredibly ugly, a real hardball tactic. And it kind of suggests a profound moral shift for Drew, doesn't it?
It really does.
I mean, remember, Drew spent years trying to figure out who he was. The good soldier, the family guy, the moral opposite to Jason.
Right.
But threatening to call the cops on teenagers in a custody fight. Especially when one of them, Danny, is Jason's son. That feels like crossing a line, a big one. It could permanently wreck his standing in town.
And that move is so harsh, it immediately loops in the other key player here, Ronnie Bard. She's the one currently living in the mansion, fighting off the family. And the sources say she actually confirms Drew's awful behavior. She agrees, yes, he told the boys they can't see Scout.
And this is precisely where Drew's whole plan could just spectacularly backfire.
How so?
Well, his ultimate goal isn't just being cruel, right? It's getting the mansion. He keeps pushing Ronnie, saying, name your price. Just lay it out there. But Ronnie, despite her own messy history with the Qs, she seems driven by a certain sense of fairness. So seeing Drew, who's supposed to be one of the good guys, acting this aggressively, almost vindictively towards kids, that might just put her off selling to him completely.
So his moral failing becomes a business problem.
Exactly. It becomes a commercial liability. If he alienates the seller, his money doesn't matter much anymore.
That's a really interesting take. Makes it less about business strategy and more about, moral reputation. But the mansion drama isn't just Drew versus Ronnie, is it? There's still that ongoing, let's call it toxic dynamic between Tracy and Ronnie.
Oh, absolutely. That's still simmering. On Tuesday, October 28th, Ned Quartermain tries what the sources perfectly call a fool's errand.
Hey, sounds about right for Ned trying to deal with Tracy.
He's trying to reason with Tracy, urging his mom, who we know is notoriously stubborn,
understatement,
to just make peace with Ronnie.
I mean, trying to reason with Tracy is a fool's errand on her best day. But right now, she's under massive pressure. The word on the street, the thing driving so much conflict, is that everyone believes Tracy drugged Ronnie to get her out of the mansion.
Right. Whether it's true or not doesn't even seem to matter at this point.
Exactly. The perception of criminality is just crippling her.
And you can see the stress taking its toll. The sources mention Tracy is seen later in the week just boozing away her problems.
Oh, boy.
And, in the soap opera world, when a matriarch hits the bottle to cope, that signals a total breakdown. Control lost, moral authority gone. She's watching her family possibly blame her. The ancestral home is on the line. It's bad.
So all this tension, it builds to Wednesday, October 29th. Ronnie Bard makes some kind of announcement that apparently leaves the entire Quartermaine family just shocked.
Right.
So if Drew's aggression turned her off and the family drama is pushing her away, what could she possibly announce that's so shocking?
Well, speculation is running wild. And you have to factor in Martin Gray, who the sources identify as stirring all this trouble. He's been whispering in her ear, remember?
Martin Gray. Never a good sign for the other side.
Exactly. So, option one, maybe she is selling the house and leaving town, but not to Drew. Maybe she sells to some outside corporate interest. That would definitely shock the Qs, a total outsider move.
Okay, that'll be a blow.
Option two, maybe she's not selling yet, but she's taking immediate legal action against Tracy based on those drugging rumors, leveraging that widespread belief against the Quartermaine name itself.
Oh, shifting it from property to criminal. That would be a shock.
It absolutely would.
Wait a second. If Martin Gray is involved, and, his reputation for pushing boundaries, maximizing chaos, could he have maybe encouraged Ronnie to pretend she might sell to Drew just to drive up the price?
Interesting.
And then pull the rug out with this shocking announcement that, oh, wait, actually, I'm suing Tracy instead. That feels very Martin Gray, designed purely to inflict maximum emotional pain on that family.
That's a really sharp point. Martin thrives on chaos, doesn't he? He loves maximizing the fallout. And the sources do say he's expected to circle back around to Ronnie during sweeps week.
Okay.
Which strongly suggests he's giving her legal advice aimed right at the Quartermaine's biggest vulnerability: their reputation and their legal exposure over this alleged drugging.
But the Qs aren't just going to roll over. Tracy will fight back, surely. If Ronnie tries to sell, especially to an outsider, Tracy's going to seek an injunction, right? They have deep pockets in lawyers.
Oh, absolutely. They won't let the mansion go without a massive legal battle. And there is maybe a tiny glimmer of hope for the family, or at least for those who don't want Drew to win this way. On Friday, October 31st, Halloween, Drew gets hit with some kind of setback.
Okay. A setback like what?
Well, the sources don't specify, but everyone's hoping it's a denial of his mansion purchase offer. That would effectively stall his whole corporate conquest right before sweeps really gets going.
That would be huge. It would force him to maybe rethink this whole scorched earth approach he's taking, which, frankly, he needs to do.
Agreed. A denial would feel like a bit of karma, wouldn't it? And it would guarantee this property fight drags on well into the fall, setting up even more corporate clashes, maybe even beyond the Q mansion itself.
Okay, fascinating. Let's shift gears now. From property to perhaps even more valuable capital, personal relationships, and emotional fallout.
Right. And we're moving to the emotional implosion of Curtis and Portia's marriage. This isn't just a separation anymore. It's escalating fast. There's a third party involved and potentially a third baby, which just cranks the stakes up to 11.
A baby. Okay, wow. Let's start with the ghost in the room, maybe. Jordan Ashford. The sources say Curtis tells Jordan she is definitely not the reason his marriage to Portia is over. He's apparently quite adamant about it.
Yeah, but the source material immediately calls him out on that. It points out Jordan is likely one of several reasons.
So, denial.
Profound denial. Curtis might genuinely believe his recent reconnection with Jordan isn't the main cause, but, their history, that lingering bond, the emotional safety net she represents for him, that absolutely played a part in the instability that let Portia's secrets blow things up.
Meanwhile, Portia's dealing with the fallout too. Isolation, guilt. On Tuesday, October 28th, she apparently reaches out to Ava Jerome for advice on her messed up personal situation.
Ava Jerome.
Really?
That's what the sources say. Portia, the respected doctor, goes to Ava. That just screams desperation, doesn't it?
It really does. Although I suppose Ava is the expert in self-sabotage and navigating emotional train wrecks.
Huh. Fair point.
So maybe it makes a twisted kind of sense.
Yeah.
Portia isn't looking for moral guidance, right? She's looking for tactical survival tips. And Ava can definitely provide that. It really shows Portia's backed into a corner, relying on the least trustworthy people for help.
And that corner tightens for Curtis on Tuesday, too. He's apparently left reeling by a revelation. Yeah. This sounds like the moment the emotional bomb finally goes off.
The heavy speculation is that Jordan, who's been connecting the dots, seeing Portia's distress, might tell Curtis that Portia could be pregnant, even if Jordan doesn't know for sure.
Oof. That would absolutely be the revelation to send him spiraling. If Jordan drops that bombshell, it changes everything. It's not just my marriage is over. It's suddenly my life is completely changed by a child who might not even be mine.
Wow.
And the sources confirm how intense his reaction is. Laura, the town's moral compass is seen consoling a really upset Curtis at the hospital later that day. Laura stepping in just underlines how serious and tragic this moment is for him.
And the plot thickens even more with the formal arrival of Dr. Isaiah Gannon. On Monday, October 27th, Trina Robinson apparently walks in and sees Dr. Gannon in Portia's office, asks if she's interrupting. Awkward.
Super awkward. Portia's trying to keep her life in separate boxes here. She might tell Trina, her daughter, that, she's seeing Isaiah romantically. But the sources predict she absolutely will not mention the possible pregnancy. That's just too radioactive. She can't share that, especially not with Trina, who's so emotionally invested in Curtis.
But secrets have a shelf life in Port Charles, right? By Wednesday, the 29th, Curtis has a tense confrontation with Isaiah.
Yep.
The clear read here is Curtis has figured it out. He knows Isaiah is Portia's new lover. This confrontation feels definitive, like no chance of reconciliation now. It puts these two men squarely on a collision course.
And that collision course leads directly to the big question that Sweeps has to answer.
Yeah.
Paternity.
Right. The baby.
Given how fast things moved with Portia and Isaiah and the devastating news Curtis just got, the sources are blunt. Portia really needs a paternity test, and they predict she shouldn't have to wait much longer to take one.
So that's the engine for November.
Absolutely. That's the narrative engine. Yeah. The answer dictates everything. Her future with Trina, her relationship with Isaiah, and where Curtis even fits in anymore.
That is the ultimate ticking clock drama. Okay, shifting slightly away from that impending storm, there's maybe a small moment of peace involving the younger generation. Monday, October 27th, Gio Palmieri apparently opens up to Emma Scorpio Drake.
Yeah, this seems like a direct result of a chat Gio had with his mom, Lois Cerullo.
Lois mediating.
Exactly. The sources suggest Gio is finally agreeing to, open his mind about giving Brooklyn, Quartermaine, and Dante Falconeri a chance, moving past whatever lingering resentment or bad blood he was holding on to about his mom's past with them.
That's actually nice. A moment of growth. Gio's been carrying some baggage about his family history. Lois stepping in to guide him towards acceptance makes sense.
It does. And for Brooklyn and Dante, who've been trying to build their own little family unit, Gio's emotional wall was a definite external stress. Him maybe thawing a bit helped solidify their place in that big, messy, Quartermaine Falconeri blended family thing.
Yeah, a small, quiet step towards peace in a week that's otherwise just full of war. Okay, let's move into the legal arena.
Right. And the legal landscape is getting dark. Fast. We're moving beyond property squabbles into life-altering criminal defense strategies. We've got someone desperate in prison, a huge legal threat aimed squarely at Michael Corinthos, and actual killers apparently lurking around.
Killers. Okay, start with the prison situation. Willow Tate in Pentonville.
Yeah, the sources confirm she is desperate to get out, would beg, borrow, or steal to leave. That level of desperation suggests prison is hitting her much harder than maybe we realized. She's past playing nice legally.
And her mother, Nina Reeves, is trying to help, but the sources say she's playing hardball. Who's she playing hardball with, though? Is she leaning on legal authorities, using her connections, maybe trying to twist the arm of a judge or the warden?
Well, knowing Nina's history, she's probably leveraging her wealth and influence, right? What's really interesting here is the conflict it creates. Willow has resented Nina's interference for so long. So Nina playing hardball might get Willow out, sure, but it could further damage their already really strained relationship. Nina's coming from a place of love, obviously, but she might be stomping all over the fragile boundaries they've tried to build.
But the real shockwave, it sounds like, is about to hit the Corinthos family directly. Christina tells Sonny some potentially explosive news. Alexis Davis, who is Willow's lawyer, might raise Michael Corinthos' name as an alternate suspect in Drew's shooting just to get Willow free.
Whoa. Okay, that is the definition of a ruthless legal maneuver.
Ruthless is right.
As a lawyer, Alexis's primary duty is to her client, Willow. If she can create reasonable doubt by pointing the finger at someone else who had motive, and let's be real, Michael has a complicated history with Drew, plus all the connections to Sonny's world.
Yeah, but isn't that crossing a massive ethical line? Naming your client's own family member? How could that even fly in court? And why would Alexis risk her whole reputation on a theory that's probably just circumstantial?
Well, I think it tells you just how desperate Willow's situation must be. Alexis isn't worried about her reputation right now. She's worried about winning, about keeping her client out of prison for potentially a long time.
Okay.
And look, Michael does have a history of complex, sometimes shady schemes, right? Especially when protecting Carly or going after Drew. Alexis isn't just pulling a name out of a hat. She's likely using Michael's past aggression and his ties to the Corinthos power structure as ammo. Just enough to sow doubt. It's a calculated risk, yes, but definitely a desperate one.
And the immediate effect is panic, right? Sonny apparently shared his regrets on Thursday, maybe worried that stuff Michael did in the past, stuff Sonny might have helped cover up, is coming back to bite them.
Exactly. And later in sweeps, the sources say Sonny and Carly are intensely worried. How do we protect Michael from this? They know Alexis is capable of anything, and they know the courts love connecting dots back to organized crime.
So the big question is, can Alexis actually get Willow bail when Martin Gray, another top lawyer, couldn't?
Right. The fact that Alexis is resorting to this strategy, throwing a Corinthos under the bus, suggests she's found some kind of loophole or maybe a piece of evidence Martin missed. It signals she's willing to play a much, much dirtier game than Martin was in this case.
Okay, wow. Moving from legal threats to actual physical threats, the criminal element, we've got these menacing characters, Jen Sidwell and Marco Rios. On Monday, the 27th, Sidwell is talking to Rios about killing someone and finding the idea appealing.
Yeah, that specific detail appealing that tells you everything. We're dealing with someone deeply disturbed here, a psychopath, not just a run-of-the-mill hired gun.
And the potential targets discussed, Drew, which would be Sidwell finishing the job he started with the shooting, or Sonny, the ultimate target for any crime element in Port Charles. This conversation basically puts a flashing red danger sign over the whole city.
It really does. And this criminal tension puts enormous pressure on the PCPD. Especially Commissioner Jordan Ashford. On Thursday, October 30th, Jordan gets grilled by DA Justine Turner.
Grilled about what, specifically?
Well, the speculation is it's about the Sidwell investigation. Particularly because Sidwell is reportedly Jordan's boss.
Wait, her boss?
That's the scuttlebutt. If Jordan's superior officer is potentially a hitman connected to this mystery boss everyone's worried about.
Well, the corruption runs deep. The DA would be demanding answers. How compromised is the force? Jordan's totally exposed here, professionally and maybe even personally.
Okay, that's a mess. Meanwhile, Anna Devane is apparently making progress on her own long investigation. Tuesday the 28th, she finally gets some answers, possibly related to the 5 poppies.
The 5 poppies. For anyone who missed that arc, that's code for this shadowy, highly organized international crime ring.
Right.
Anne has been chasing this relentlessly. A breakthrough now suggests she's getting closer to the top tier of organized crime, which almost certainly ties back to the mystery boss and, yeah, probably Sidwell too. Anna getting answers now just confirms the investigative side of sweeps is also heating up big time. Gotcha. And finally, in the legal mix, we have Cody Bell needing help. On Thursday the 30th, he asks Molly Lansing Davis for legal advice. Speculation is it's about inheritances, specifically Monica Quartermain's will and maybe the whole Tracy Ronnie mess.
Yeah, Cody. Always looking for an angle, right? Chaos equals opportunity for him. His interest in Monica's will probably means he's trying to solidify his claim to the Q fortune. And asking about Tracy and Ronnie, he might be trying to find a way to capitalize on the mansion being vulnerable, maybe step in as a buyer himself, or leverage his Quartermain connection somehow to challenge a sale. Classic Cody.
Okay, we survived Halloween, metaphorically speaking, and we are now fully into the November sweeps period. The first big conflict zone we need to hit is that incredibly complicated custody situation. Rocco, Nathan, Lulu, Dante. It's a minefield.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it's so tense, mainly because of the huge question mark still hanging over Nathan West. Remember, he was missing, nobody knows why he's back, and the sources keep dropping hints that Nathan is not who he says he is.
Mm-hmm.
That undercurrent of secrecy just makes his presence in Rocco's life incredibly destabilizing.
Totally. And on Monday, October 27th, Lulu Spencer is, understandably, deeply upset. Rocco had dinner with Nathan, Liz Obrecht, and Britt Westbourne, who Rocco is now calling his other mother.
Oof, other mother. That phrase is like a tiny, perfectly aimed emotional grenade for Lulu, isn't it? After everything she's been through.
It's brutal. It's classic soap opera. Writing a kid uses a label that just perfectly captures the shifting family dynamic.
Right. And surprisingly, Nathan is apparently advising Lulu not to grill Rocco about it, to just let the kid reveal it on his own time. He even promises Lulu he'll look after Rocco.
But can Lulu trust him? That's the million-dollar question, right? He's advising patience while his own sister, Britt, is getting called other mother. Is his advice genuine? Or is he maybe subtly manipulating Lulu, trying to get her to back off so Britt can bond more with Rocco while his own agenda stays hidden?
That ambiguity is exactly what's fueling the tension. By Wednesday, October 29th, Dante and Lulu are butting heads. Probably over Rocco spending time with Britt, given Britt's own, let's say, checkered past, and her closeness to whatever Nathan's secret is.
So Lulu's dealing with her mom anxiety, Dante's trying to be practical, and they end up clashing just when they need to be united against whatever Nathan's really up to.
Precisely. Parental conflict triggered by an external mystery threat. Perfect sweep setup.
Okay, speaking of complex triangles and secrets,
Okay.
let's swing back to Carly, Jason, and Britt. Jason Morgan confronts Carly on Tuesday, October 28th.
Yeah, and this confrontation isn't about their personal feelings, it seems. It's about her recklessness. The sources speculate Jason is calling her out over her fake identity and that secret visit she made to Steinmauer to see Valentin Cassadine.
Right, the corporate espionage thing.
Exactly. Carly's running this unauthorized, super dangerous scheme targeting Jack Brennan. Jason knows this puts her, and by extension Sonny's whole operation, at massive risk. He's basically drawing a line in the sand. Stop this.
But while he's trying to manage Carly's extracurricular activities, he's also getting closer to Britt Westbourne. On Thursday, October 30th, Jason surprises Britt. The running joke in the sources is the surprise is probably a safe used car, because the prediction is she's gonna crash it.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like Jason.
Yeah.
His way of showing affection is protective and practical, looking out for her safety.
Yeah.
But this emotional deepening between Jason and Britt, it's complicated because Carly does not want Jason dating Britt. She hated Britt dating Jack, and she's already prickly about this new development.
But here's the twist, right? Carly's scheme against Jack Brennan is apparently going to blow up in her face, spectacularly. And the sources predict Jason will have to step in and watch her back.
Ah, the classic dilemma.
Perfect sweeps scenario. Jason's emotionally drawn to Britt, but he's practically chained to Carly's latest crisis because he has to protect her, the mother of his child, even if it means sidelining his own budding romance.
That sets up some great conflict. And that brings us to Michael Corinthos, who might be making the single worst strategic decision possible right now, given his legal situation.
Oh, what now?
Jacinda Bracken, formerly known, rather memorably in the source material, as Hooker Jacinda,
Oh, right.
is starting her new job working for Michael during sweeps week.
Okay, Michael's trying to give her a fresh start, right?
Yeah.
A legitimate chance, a real job with purpose, not just charity.
Exactly. The speculation is he puts her in hospitality or customer service, something where she's in charge of making people happy. It's like a Port Charles Pretty Woman redemption arc.
But the timing.
The timing cannot possibly be worse. Remember, Michael is in a massive custody battle for Wiley.
Right.
The source explicitly asks, how on earth does Michael think a custody court will look kindly on him dating, or even just employing, a cleaned-up, rehagged hooker, even if his intentions are pure gold?
The optics are just catastrophic, especially with Alexis already threatening to paint him as a suspect in Drew's shooting. A custody court wants stability, reputation. They'll see this new association not as charity, but as proof of profound, reckless instability.
He is basically handing his opponents, who are already playing dirty, the ammunition they need to shred his character and question his judgment as a father.
Wow. He's really exposed himself. This decision, no matter how well-intentioned, pretty much guarantees his custody battle goes nuclear in November.
Completely undermines any attempt to look grounded and responsible. A terrible, terrible move strategically.
Okay. Finally, let's touch on the big, overarching criminal plot. The mystery boss. Things seem to be accelerating there, too. Jack Brennan makes someone an offer on Friday, October 31st. And at the same time, Britt gets new orders.
Yep. This is confirmation. The drama around the mystery boss is definitely heating up, reaching a critical point. Brennan and Britt are acting like field operatives, right? Taking orders, making offers. It's all going to lead to confrontation.
And everything else we've talked about, Sidwell wanting to kill someone, Anna closing in with her investigation, Carly targeting Brennan, it all seems to be converging on finding out who this one dangerous figure is, the one pulling all the major criminal strings in Port Charles.
Exactly. It's all coming to a head.
Okay, wow. That is a lot to process for just 2 weeks.
It really is. So just to synthesize this massive 2-week setup, the stage is absolutely set for a November defined by vulnerability and, frankly, inevitable consequences. You've got these 3 inescapable conflicts boiling over. The Quartermaine legacy is hanging by a thread, totally dependent on what Ronnie decides and whether Tracy's legal maneuvers actually work. Then there's that ticking clock on Portia's paternity. That answer is about to fundamentally reshape the future of the Robinson and Ashford families.
And Michael Corinthos. Wow. He might just be the most vulnerable person in Port Charles right now. Exposed legally by Alexis's tactics, exposed personally by the optics of his new hire. He could lose his freedom and his son all at once.
It's incredibly high stakes for him. And we've seen the desperate measures people are resorting to, right? Willow ready to beg, borrow, or steal her way out of Pentonville.
Yeah.
Jordan getting grilled by the DA because her own boss might be compromised. And the fact that Nathan's return is just shrouded in secrets. It really suggests he's a wolf in sheep's clothing right now.
That instability around Nathan West feels like the perfect pivot for the Big Sweeps mystery, doesn't it?
It really does.
Given that his true identity is clearly a secret, and Britt and Jason are getting closer despite Carly practically forbidding it, here's the final thought for you to chew on. What unexpected allegiance or betrayal will Nathan's true identity expose first? Will it be a direct threat to Rocco and James's safety, forcing Lulu and Dante into immediate confrontation? Or is it a complication specifically designed to blow up Jason and Britt's fragile new relationship, maybe proving he's actually working for the mystery boss?
Ooh, that's a good one. Threat to the kids versus threat to the romance. Which shoe drops first? An excellent thread to follow indeed. Well, that wraps up our deep dive into the utter chaos descending on Port Charles.
Thank you for joining us. Buckle up and enjoy the explosion that is definitely going to be November Sweeps.